Welcome to a new coding tutorial here on Delta Lake. Now we are working here on Databricks on the community edition, on the free community edition, where you can try out here on a cluster in the cloud. And as you can see, I have already attached a cluster to our notebook. And we have Databricks runtime 8.3 running. This means runtime 8 already has Delta Lake as default. This means forget all the versions before runtime 8. Now we are running with Delta Lake. And the Delta Lake Python tutorial is from the Spark Summit. And let's run fast through the code that I can show you where we are. So we have a source path where we load our Parquet file. And we define a Parquet file now for a Parquet path for us. We read it, we write it as a Parquet again. Next step will, of course, be to write it as a Delta format. You will see that it's an identical command line, except that here we, instead of Parquet, we will have Delta. Yes, we define a view. And let's have a look what we have done. How many records does it have? And as you can see, it's a simple matrix with loan identifier, funded amount, paid amount, and the address of the state where the credit was given. And we have about 14,705 rows in this data set. Now let's append some new data to it using structured streaming. And what we do is we have now states California, Texas, New York. And we have some random generator, and then we define a function, generate and append data stream, where we read a stream with the column loan ID, funded amount, paid amount, and the address of the state, and we write this stream. And the processing time, the trigger, is about 10 seconds. And then we define a function to stop all streams, because we are working on a free version and a free cluster. So there is, of course, some quota limits implemented for us. So let's start the stream to append data to the pure Parquet table, to the Parquet file. Oh yeah, I should run the definitions first. Talk less, work more. Streaming is initialized. And let's see how many rows we have now, and gone. So what happened? Where did our existing 14,705 rows go? And of course, it is set up that it gives here an error, and as you can see here, suddenly we have two new columns, timestamp and value, and Databricks give us a clear explanation is that the streaming query started adding new data to the Parquet table, but it did not properly account for the existing data in the table. So we had two different schema from different files, and unexpectedly it modified. So this is not optimal, and you see why we switch from Parquet to Delta Lake. We have in Parquet no schema enforcement, and there's no interoperability between batch and streaming workloads. So how you do it now in the Delta path, let's define a Delta path, I don't know, let's say 3. So what we do is the same. We read the Parquet file we had in the very first beginning from our source path, and we write the format as a Delta table now to our Delta path. The Delta path is here, TMP loans Delta 3, and we create the view. So now going from Parquet to Delta, we have a look at the Delta table. You can see now, since this is the original data, we have our loan ID, funded amount, paid amount, and address, where we have our 14,705 rows. And now let's stream it to that Delta table so that it can update automatically. And for whatever reason, they have in this example that they want to have writing the stream appends once again. So another stream query. And there we can say that we have a schema mismatch detected when writing to the Delta table. And Databricks gives us an explanation. The writes were blocked because the schema of the new data did not match the schema of the table. So let's now fix it by selecting the columns we want to write. So we define, or we generate now a new definition, generate an append data stream fixed now for the Delta table, where we have again our columns loan ID, funded amount, paid amount, address. But now, and this is the new, we have here select loan ID, funded amount, paid amount, address to state. We write the stream again with 10 seconds. We load the definition. And now Databricks says we can now stream perfectly to our table, and we should see no problem at all. And we have stream query 3. Let's check it. And as you can see, if we're running this, we have now the matrix in exactly the structure we want, loan ID, funded amount, paid amount, or address. And as you can see, every 10 seconds, there's some new data coming in. For example, now we have 15,805 rows. And if we run this cell again, we have 17,755. So there's a lot of data coming in, updating our Delta table here. And it is in perfectly order, exactly as we wanted. And this is one of the strengths of the Delta table. And then Databricks tells us in this exercise, remember to stop all the streaming queries. Thank you. So this was it, a very short introduction. What is working with in Python now with the Delta Lake? And I hope you have some insights into this. And if you want to see the file, it is the demonstration file, the official file from Databricks, from the Spark Summit in Europe in 2019. As a little bit modified, and you can download it for yourself. And I will leave you the link to this official Databricks notebook in the comments below. Thank you.